Medical school was my dream. From age 7 on, I always wanted to be a doctor. From age 12 on, I knew I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. I spent the entirety of my early life visualizing this dream and grinding towards this goal. I did the research, I did the volunteering, I got the grades, and then I got there. I got to medical school. And there I was on my first day, walking through this beautiful building with floor-to-ceiling windows and walls that were expo marker friendly, and surrounded by brilliant minds who could all relate to that same dream that I had always had. And yet, it all felt sort of anticlimactic. I talked to my peers and they all described the sense of euphoria they felt from just being inside that building, and how excited they were to immerse themselves in the world of medicine. They were all describing exactly what I thought that I should be feeling, but I didn't. It all just felt kind of flat. But then the white coat ceremony was on the horizon, and I thought to myself, okay, here we go. I'll get my white coat and it'll all just start to feel real. But then that came and went and still remained this flat feeling. I kept looking forward to future occasions as if those would be turning points for me. I'd say once I start seeing patients, it'll be better. Once I scrub in and head into the operating room, things will change. Or once I'm consistently applying all my knowledge, then I'll feel differently about this. But these events came and went. I did my first 2-week rotation in a real clinic, and I scrubbed in and assisted in surgery, and I saw enough patients to consistently apply my knowledge, and yet still, this sort of flat, foggy feeling remained, as if I was just in the wrong place. And I actually started to get really convicted when I would talk to people about medical school, because I felt like I was lying to them when I said I really enjoyed it. So I started saying this phrase instead: I don't like medicine, I just want to cut. And what that meant was I just wanted to be in the operating room performing surgery, but I didn't really like medicine all that much. Oh, and by the way, performing surgery is like 30% of your job as a surgeon, just so you know. And the thing that scared me was that this previous statement was true. I really didn't like medicine that much, although I still believe that I would have liked just the surgery portion in isolation. But in any case, that should have hit me as the first huge red flag, but I suppressed it. And then came the next red flag. I started telling people that I planned to go into private practice for about 10 years after residency. Okay, that's all well and good. It seems reasonable enough. But then my plan was to slowly start reducing the amount of patients I took on while I started to grow a business on the side. I wasn't even sure what this business would be, but I knew it would be something. And from there, I'd start performing surgery less and less while my business grew until I phased out operating altogether. And at that point, I would retire from being a physician and work on whatever this business was full-time. So basically, my plan was to spend 10 to 12 years as a neurosurgeon before completely quitting to pursue my entrepreneurial goals. And y'all, that means I would have spent more time just preparing to be a doctor than actually being one. Yikes. So once again, that should have hit me as a wake-up call. But alas, I kept going. So then came the third and final red flag. I was in third year on my rotations, and all of my peers were invigorated with the fact that they were finally able to put everything they've been learning into practice full force. But me? I was struggling to study, struggling to stay awake during meetings, struggling with the desire to want to learn, struggling with just getting out of bed in the morning, struggling with everything. And then I knew I really needed to be honest with myself. Why was I here? What were my true motivations? And what I found out was that I was more selfish than I realized. So yes, I wanted to help people, but I also really wanted the money, the status, and a certain lifestyle that comes with being a surgeon. But let me tell you, the last 3 are horrible reasons to pour like 70 hours of your life into every single week for 11 years into something that you're really not passionate about. So after being honest with myself, I knew I couldn't keep heading down this road. So I took a leave of absence and began to do some heavy self-reflection. And what I found is that I had really just been scared. Scared of what people would think. Scared of them thinking that I was a failure. Or scared that I was like going back on my word or something because I said I was gonna do this for so long. But after doing some deep prayer and then talking to my family and my friends, I realized that this was my life, and I needed to take control of my future. And so I was getting over the fear of judgment, but man, I had to dig deep to find the courage to get over the sunk cost fallacy, because that was wrecking me. Just thinking about all the time and the money that I had poured into that career path. And let me tell you, I had 162,000 reasons why I thought that maybe I should just go ahead and stick with this field. But nonetheless, I fought these off as well and really dove into beginning to research other career fields. And then, something beautiful happened. I found code. Now, I was already somewhat familiar with this career field because my brother was working as a software engineer, and he had always told me that he really thought that I would like that field as well. So I picked up Python and a whole new world opened up to me. I saw the career opportunities. I saw the transferable skills I could gain. I saw that I was loving getting up and getting going on learning to code. And very importantly, I also could see how many people I could truly help if I learned to code. After all, helping others was still one of the main motivations that led to me going to med school as well, and that motivation was still strong in those moments. And the more I delved into software, the more clearly I could see that programming represented more than just a future job to me. It represented freedom. And the more I looked into coding opportunities, the more I began to crave what big tech jobs seemed to offer. They seemed to provide a nice paycheck and great flexibility, and the opportunity to learn at an exponential rate, since I'd be working with some of the smartest engineers and solving problems on a massive scale. So considering these aspects, I saw big tech as the best initial path to go down. And so I made the plunge. I officially resigned from med school and threw myself full force into learning to program and aiming to land a job in big tech as soon as possible. I went back to school to get a second bachelor's degree in computer science and constantly researched the best way to get into big tech. It quickly became clear that prepping for technical interviews would be the best bang for my buck as far as getting my foot in the door. So I put my eggs in this basket. Of course, I still built projects, gained experience, and networked with people, but I primarily put my focus on prepping for big tech interviews. And I'm so glad I did, because I was soon met with the opportunities to interview with these companies that I had been dreaming of, and I was ready. And by the way, if you're looking for advice on prepping for your big tech interviews, then definitely check out my video that I made on this topic. I'll link it right here and in the description, and I hope it helps you out. But anyway, I passed my interviews by the grace of God, and I soon found myself interning for Microsoft barely over a year after I first started learning to code. And this internship provided me with everything I had hoped for. I was feeling even more invigorated about my new career path. And this amazing thought came across my mind. I have that feeling. The feeling that I had envied and craved. The feeling that all of my peers seemed to have in med school that made them so happy with choosing that career path. The feeling that drove them to wake up every single day excited to learn something new. The feeling that I thought that I should have been having back then, but simply wasn't. But now, it had finally shown up in my personal life. And that is when I knew for a fact that I had made the right decision for myself in leaving med school and learning to code. So I worked hard through my internship, and thank God I received a return offer. Just a few months later, I graduated, and now I've been working full-time at Microsoft, and I love it so far. I have an amazing and brilliant team, and I'm learning so much every single day. And work-life balance is truly valued on my team as well, so I don't feel pressured to put in like crazy hours every day. And the money, of course, has been a great bonus, and I got to start this channel to hopefully help others live their dreams just like I am now. So overall, I'm just really happy, and I'd like to end by telling you the most important lesson I learned when leaving med school to code. Be fearless. Be fearless to pursue your dreams. Be fearless to cut out anything that doesn't align with your true vision. Be fearless to take chances and risks and go against conventional wisdom. Be fearless to take control of your own life. So that was my story. If you learned anything or got any enjoyment from it, please drop me a like and consider subscribing to my channel. I'd love to have you here. But for now, I am out. And remember, we'll all make it together. Just gotta keep praying.